Yeah, let's focus on the, elephant in the room so far. 3 days, how many days away from playoffs? A couple days away from
Literally
playoffs?
a week.
Like,
well, okay, a week until the play-in starts.
a week until the play-in starts, and Mike Malone of the Denver Nuggets is fired. They informed him of this morning, and why? What did we benefit here? What did we change here that we couldn't have waited till the end of the season to do? Realistically, Earl, take your bias out of the way for a second, because I know you got. I understand you got your Lakers bias. I know we got the Lakers daddy thing, but I want an honest take from this, because this really does seem like an unfair thing that the ownership did do. But I do I do want to understand your take about it.
To answer the chat, I don't think he's eligible for unemployment checks right now. We'll see what happens. I heard
anybody
there is some mixed feelings about him in the front office. Oh, and yeah, the GM is fired too. So my fault.
Yeah,
Mike Malone.
The owner
has some company.
Just took full control and said fired.
If I'm being completely honest, did this news absolutely shock me? Yes. We just talked about this last week about potential coaches getting fired, and if we could see any other surprises, which, I mean, we had a small conversation about it. I think we all agreed out of the coaches we talked about, he was probably maybe on the safer side compared to other guys.
He was, yeah.
I did think that he possibly could get fired. Did I think it was going to be right before the playoffs? Absolutely not. I don't see how you go 2-3 games into the playoffs. It's like, okay, you know what? We actually don't need you. And GM, what is the GM doing now? Why do we need a GM when we can't sign any players right now? Get rid of him too. Just let's clean house, go into it. But I don't know, man. I'm more shocked than anything. I'm ready to hear y'all's opinions, but I'm biased aside. The Nuggets have made some questionable decisions. We talked about it last week. I think them sitting all the players versus Spurs games was costly. I'm not saying that was on Malone. I don't know whose decision that was, but they lost that game. They lost a lot of key matchups. I think they just lost 2 big games as well. One versus the Warriors, and then another one versus the Pacers as well. Both of them like huge for the standings wise. While I do think those were like crazy loss from the pickup now, does that mean to fire your coach right now going into the playoffs, Mike Malone? I don't think so. Like, and you got to think like Jamal Murray, he hasn't been playing as well. Some of those games, Jokic hasn't played, Aaron Gordon hasn't played. So I don't know, man. I'm shocked. Jokes aside, it's just unbelievable, I'll say.
Yeah.
I think we're probably a year or 2 away, maybe 3, but within the next 2 years, we're going to see a head coach fired during the playoffs. I genuinely do think this will happen. There will come a series where a team loses the first 2 games and they fire their head coach after game. That's where this is going. I didn't think this was possible even a year ago. But I guess the Grizzlies just started a new trend. The fact that they can fire their playoff head coach 3 weeks before the playoffs. Denver came in and said, let's not just one up this. Let's fire our championship winning coach from less than 2 years ago. Less than 2 years ago, Michael Malone was on the championship parade for this team, and they fired him. I can't tell you how many times we've talked on this show about teams firing their championship coach prematurely. It happened with the Lakers and Vogel. It happened with the Bucks and Budenholzer. And every single time that happens, we revisit it a year or 2 later and say the guy they got to replace him was not better. The Bucks were not better have not been better after firing Budenholzer.
Well, to be honest, they haven't been better since trading Drew Holiday. So,
I mean, yeah, but it's like they have not been better since that coach firing. The Lakers, maybe you could say now Redick, you could argue upgrade over Vogel. But certainly Darvin Ham was not an upgrade. I find it very, very, very hard to believe that whoever Denver is elevating from within this franchise or plans to sign in the offseason is an improvement from the guy who won a championship with this same team less than 2 years ago. Earl, you're shaking your head like you got someone in mind here.
No, continue.
Do you have somebody in mind, or are you agreeing with Max?
No, I think... No. Keep going. You're cooking.
Okay, all right. Keep going.
He doesn't... Again, unless there is some like crazy drama, off the court stuff, which I'm not going to speculate about. If it is that, then whatever. Assuming this is a purely basketball decision, just like hey, we like you, coach, but we're going to go a different direction. And now, again, to clean house and now say the GM, like, what happened here? You talk about dysfunction. The Nuggets, we heralded them 2 years ago for being an objectively functional franchise. Like, they brought in Coach Malone many years ago. He helped develop Jokic. They didn't jump the gun when Jamal Murray had injury troubles. They drafted Michael Porter Jr. not with the intent for him to be good right away, but for the intent for him to be good in 5 years, which he was. They made the small moves. They didn't jump at a superstar. They traded for Aaron Gordon, which wound up being kind of their quote-unquote big move. They were patient. They built the right way. They brought in good role players, good coaching staff, and they won. We gave them credit on this show for doing that. We said this is the blueprint for how to build a successful, competent NBA franchise. Everything they did today completely contradicts all of those decisions. A competent, functional franchise does not clean house a week before they might host a playoff series. They might be going to Denver in a week and a half with a brand new head coach and a brand new general manager for game one of the playoffs in a year where Jokic is probably going to win MVP, or he's going to be 1 or 2 in MVP. You're still a favorite in the West. I just cannot get this. I don't get what teams the obsession with firing coaches is. I understand it more for a bad team that needs to scapegoat. I understand it more for a Portland or a Utah or a Washington who need to change the direction of their franchise. What do the Nuggets have to scapegoat? Were they expecting to win 60 games like the Thunder this year? Was that their realistic expectations? Like, damn, if we don't win 60 games, Mike Malone is out? Is that what you were expecting? Were they expecting to go past the first round in the playoffs this year? I'm sure they are. You're not even going to give Malone a chance to get past the first round in the playoffs this year. This makes genuinely no sense. To give a championship-winning head coach one playoff series post-winning the championship is criminal. I don't get it whatsoever.
Yeah, and to answer KJ in the chat, why I think he was getting fired, I just feel like the trend, like, okay, I don't think winning a championship, like Max said, at this point, you really have a year or two window. I feel like the Nuggets, for the most part, maybe it's not all coaching, but these last couple of weeks, they've fallen off a little bit, and seeing how the Grizzlies coach got fired, I just brought up the point. What's keeping Mike Malone from being safe, if we're being completely honest? So I don't really have anything specific.
I thought there was 0 chance.
Yeah.
I said on the show last
Well,
week.
true. Yeah, he won, but like, what was that? How many years ago was that? 2?
That he won the championship? 2023.
Yeah.
Not even 2 years.
Yeah.
Not even 2 full years.
I think
don't know,
recently, I think recently on this show, like 2 or 3 shows ago, we talked about the longest tenured coaches in the league so far, and I think there's only 2 left now. Like 3 of them got fired already. There's 5 of them. One of them is Pop, and then one of them is Thibodeau.
Yeah.
No, Spoelstra.
And Spoelstra, my bad. So there was...
And Kerr.
You're right. Damn it. How many were fired then? There must have been 8.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, how long do you count as a long tenure of a coach? Like 5+ years.
To be fair, KJ, like I was seeing some
6,
reports that him and the GM, they didn't get along at all, and that was kind of an issue with them balancing like where they wanted the direction of this team to go. And I guess their biggest decision, which I don't agree with, was let's just clean house and start over, which is kind of a drastic decision to make right before the playoffs, I admit. But I don't know, man. I don't know what the future is for the Nuggets. Like this, that opens more questions. Is Jokic safe this offseason?
You know,
I mean, being real here.
Okay, I'm gonna get into that because now it's time.
Saying.
Now it's time for speculation. And you want to know why? You want to know my theory for what happened?
No, KJ. Does he want to stay in this? Does he want to stay here? Is what I mean.
That's perfect, and I like that. Lock in, chat. This one's gonna be right on the nose. The Nuggets want to trade Jamal Murray. Mike Malone promised him he wouldn't be traded at one point. Mike Malone didn't want him to be traded at one point. I think this season, they're going to try to get a better number 2 next to Jokic. If that costs Jamal Murray, it costs Jamal Murray. And I think as a sacrifice to that, both GM and coach had to get out of the way for that to happen.
I mean,
maybe that's it.
It really does. It really is that simple sometimes.
Who do y'all think though? Like, okay, if you're trading Jamal Murray, what's Jamal Murray's trade value around the NBA? Like, who would you get for Jamal Murray to upgrade next to Jokic? Is my question.
I mean, I don't know one, but like, I don't think.
To be honest, I would downgrade at the point guard and try to get somebody better in the shooting guard because I think, to be honest, I know. Like I know this chat likes to shit on Russell Westbrook, but whether y'all like it or not, he's been pretty good for them. So I don't think he should be like a number 2, but number 3 is on the table for Russell Westbrook. That's all I'm saying.
There's no way we're saying Russell Westbrook number 3 basketball options on the Nuggets.
I think so. I mean, okay, wait. Okay, I may or may have not forgotten about Michael Porter Jr. let's
I'm just saying. I'm not gonna lie. I've witnessed Russell Westbrook in the last like 5 games. I've witnessed him destroy 3 chances of winning.
Yeah,
just out of the games I watched. Just out of the games I watched, 3 games they lost because Russell Westbrook was on the floor making mistakes. There's no way you guys want second option Russell Westbrook hoops on that team.
I'm not saying second.
Jokic does not want that. I guarantee you, if that's the case, Jokic, we might see the first European player bounce about it there by his own accord, not getting traded.